So hello, this is the third time to have an interview with Professor Federico Agostini. Thank you very much for coming again. Thank you. So the first time, do you remember, I asked about your childhood story.
Yes.
And last year, second time, I asked about teenager story.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I want to ask about 20th, 30th, and my age 40th, story. So after graduation, I mean now you're very famous because you became the concertmaster of MGT, string chamber music, and so before MGT, what did you do just while teaching or something?
Before, the thing reconnects a little bit with what we said in the previous episode of this interview with you. Mm-hmm. I started concertizing in Italy quite a bit, especially after winning 2 consecutive editions of the national competition. So I was not lacking concerts at that time, so I had a lot of activities.
Great.
Then graduation came, and this was year 78. And right after that, 2 years later, I had to serve in the army, because at that time it was mandatory in Italy to serve 12 months of my life.
Oh my God, so do you have a rifle or something?
Well, I had to do all that training and unpleasant things, and so it has been quite an experience, a waste of time.
Well, so during that time, didn't you practice any time? You didn't have any
at that time, the Eastern Bloc in Europe was not yet broken, didn't collapse yet. So in my hometown Trieste, which was on the border of the Eastern Bloc, we had a lot of military settlements, of course, and many people coming from my region, from my town, ended up doing the service in the hometown. So, and I was a lucky one, so I did it there. So I had basically, after the first 2 months of training, I had relatively a lot of time to practice for myself. So
okay, good. So then just you lost 1 or 2 months.
Yeah, and then the rest was just waiting for the whole thing to finish.
It is very surprising story for me.
And then after the army service, I resumed teaching, of course, because I was already teaching in the National Conservatory and concertizing. And at the same time, I was called by a similar group to I Musici, so-called I Virtuosi di Roma, which was another famous ensemble. And and with that group, I came to Japan for the very first time in 1981.
Eventually.
And it was the first contact with this country, and I fell in love immediately. And so I couldn't wait. It was not until I Musici time that I could come back. So,
again, many times. So what did you like for the first time you came here?
I had a very preconceived idea of what Japan was, and it was not exactly. I found something different. So I imagined Tokyo as a very chaotic and hectic. And I was surprised when I arrived. Everything was so orderly, and so everything was working so smoothly, and I didn't have the impression of feeling cramped and that's maybe now, yes, a little bit I can see what are the downsides.
Yeah, of course, you know, yeah, you can say many things. So you may like a transportation system or something, because we are very on time. And
I couldn't believe my eyes and my.
Okay, and then you became and when did you become a concertmaster in
And that was in 86.
96.
So
86, and then
5-6 years later.
when you were 20.
I was 20. What was I? was 59, 80. I was 27.
So 27. So 27 years old guy can become like concertmaster of humanity.
I was actually the youngest concertmaster ever with musicians. So
wow. Maybe a lot of people envied you. And how long do you stay in the
I stayed 6 years until 1992.
Oh, 6 years. And then did you move to United States?
No, I moved to during Imusici time. I was living in Paris, France, and so I was enjoying Parisian life. Let's say, and then I remarried in Holland, and I went to live in Holland. And this coincided with the breakup with the Musici.
Okay.
So I stopped with the Musici, I went to live in Holland, and I started teaching in Germany. So I was commuting. And of course, concerts in between. So after 10 years of this life, the opportunity to go to the United States, to the Indiana University, what now is called Jacobs School of Music, in Bloomington, Indiana. I took that chance, and it worked out for me.
Great. I remember you just had a master class in Manhattan Music School.
No.
It's not?
Not Manhattan.
That's a Manhattan. For in New York, you had a.
Oh, I taught at Eastman.
Eastman. Okay.
That I taught after Indiana University. After 10 years in Indiana University, I moved to Eastman, Rochester, at the University of Rochester, and I stayed another 7 years before coming to Japan.
Great. So you moved a lot of places.
Yes, I got this kind of gypsy soul.
Very gypsy.
Nomadic soul.
So, any other difference? You know, since you went to many countries, can you recognize the differences? You know, between Germany students, France students, American students, and Japanese students. Can you?
You know, there is talent everywhere in the world. There are talented and non-talented students, or less talented students everywhere in the world. There is one thing that I probably have said that already in a previous interview with you, that what is incredible in Japan is the level of commitment. When a student picks up the violin or the piano, whatever, the cello, there is a degree of commitment that I haven't seen in other places. And this involves usually the parents, and probably is the influence of the Suzuki method. And it's very, very interesting to see how much time the kids spend on the violin with great concentration and great dedication. So even less gifted student, I would say, have a chance to do something and to become very productive in the process. You know, whereas in other countries sometimes, you know, there are failures automatically because of a lack of discipline and consistency.
Yeah, I understand. But depend on the countries, you know, they speak different languages, right? And okay, how about Mozart? When they play the Mozart, do you think that Germany people
You mean
play the better than French?
Mozart?
Mozart. I mean, Mozart is not from Germany, but basically their language is the same. Vienna and Germany.
I don't think.
It's like for example, if they say like "ich liebe," so that like they really good at picking up. Like.
No, I don't believe
Don't
much
you think
in those things.
Is it that it's same? You think something?
I heard incredible French music, impressionistic music played by a German, for instance, and incredibly beautiful German music played by a French pianist.
Okay.
I don't think that music has defined borders, that so you have to be German to play good German music, you have to be French to play. I don't think in those things. There might be some influences, circumstances, the way you live and what you see, and maybe all influences eventually your way of playing and your way of approaching music.
How about Vivaldi? Because you should be proud of Vivaldi and
there are incredible Dutch people who play incredible Vivaldi music.
Do you think so?
In the Baroque department, let's say. That's I don't see. I can say that there is a sort of a tradition of beauty of sound that maybe the Italians have, that it's renowned. I can say when I was with the Virtuosi di Roma, for instance, there was a great violinist who was the concertmaster, and his name was Angelo Stefanato.
Okay.
Angelo Stefanato was a student of Luigi Ferro. Luigi Ferro was the best representative of the Venetian school, coming back all the way from Tartini and Vivaldi and so on.
Wow.
So there is a lineage and probably a transfer of culture and traditions in the way of playing. So the sound of Angelo Stefanato in Vivaldi music was something unparalleled. It's such a beautiful, beautiful golden sound, So, and other violinists, Italian violinists have been inspired by me included. So there is something in that, it's like when you go to a museum and you see the paintings of that period, the Venetian paintings, and you see the blue sky has a certain kind of flavor, visual flavor, right? And maybe it has to do with that, with what we see, what the air we breathe, and that might have the food that we eat, that might have a certain influence in all what we do. So if we play an instrument, maybe on the sound. So
we have to go to Italy. Because we talked about Italy, I want to ask about study abroad, especially Italy in any good school. Do you have any recommended good school in Italy?
Well, there are the national conservatories of music. There are several. All major city has a national conservatory of music where you studied music, but it's a little bit different from my time. So after the unification of Europe, there have been changes in the programs, and the programs are now, whether you study in Italy or in Germany or in France or in Denmark, it's basically the same programs.
That's interesting.
University kind of, college kind of program. So you have the undergraduate, you have the graduate. We didn't have this at the time. So at my time we had 10 years of study violin. You have 5 years of, let's say, preparatory studies, then you have a middle period, and then you have the 2 years of advanced studies, so superior virtuoso, whatever you want to call it. So.
But don't you think the Italian music school has something special, special education or something you can proud of? You can be proud of it.
I don't think so. Again, it depends the circumstances with whom you happen to study with, and it's difficult to say. There are fantastic teachers.
Yeah, it's depending on the teachers.
Mediocre teachers as well. So that's.
So don't you think there is no strength to study in Italy?
No. Well, in Italy, for instance, there is a fantastic school in Cremona.
Yeah,
it's called the Stauffer Fondazione Stauffer, which has been founded by Salvatore Accardo together with Bruno Giorana, with Rocco Filippini, cello, unfortunately deceased, and Franco Petracchi, double bass. This school was born as a school for strings players, and it incorporates a lot of chamber music activities.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the thing is that at that time when it was founded, it was free. So if you happen to be accepted, it was free tuition. So
you mean the scholarship they have?
You just free scholarship, but it was free. You don't.
So it's a country.
The foundation. It's a private foundation.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, they said in Europe the out of schools are free. I mean the tuitions are really reasonable. So
now I didn't follow much the activities of the Stauffer Foundation, but now I know that they expanded in a much fancier programs, inviting a lot of well-known players, musicians to give classes and stuff. It's pretty sensational what they do.
Yeah, any good competitions for children. So because now I have a lot of lessons with children and the teenagers. So I want to recommend the students who are interested in competitions in Europe. Not very big competition like international competition, but do you have any good?
If you want to send a student to a competition in Europe, it has to be international.
Yeah, of course, of course, international, but so, not super big. But
well, you have that I know. There is so-called Il Piccolo Violino Magico.
Oh, that's
in Italy, and I think it's run by a Ukrainian violinist, very close friend of mine, by the name of Pavel Vernikov. And it's a very successful competition for I know several Japanese people went and got
great to know it.
Then there is a very similar one, always run by the same person in Sion, Switzerland. I don't remember the name of the competition, but it's in Sion, Switzerland. You have you have another competition, which is a big competition, international competition for advanced band, and on top of that, you have this small for children. Let's say category for
good information. So there are some categories like from children and adults.
Then you have the Arthur Grumillon competition in Belgium, I think.
That is really difficult, right? It's really professional.
But it's also categories.
Great.
And then I'm proud to say that in Rome, in January 2024, we will have the first edition of the Franco Gulli International Competition. And it's also a competition in categories, for categories. It starts from younger, and also there's a category for soloist.
Okay, let's take it. Oh, by the way, my teacher, Martin Bieber. Do you know that Mana? She is a wife of Martin Bieber.
Yeah,
She actually studied with Franco Guri.
Yes, I know. I know.
That's why you know. Okay. Last year I heard from about the story from Martin, and I was so surprised. Oh my God.
And this will be the first time of the Franco Guri competition in Roma, Italy, and we have already. I will be the president of the jury, and we have already. They told me 90 competitors already from everywhere, and so we have. In 5 days, we will have a lot of work. So.
Great, yeah. So I want to judge.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Please let me know the information more.
Of course.
Yeah, because some of my students are so interested.
Yeah, we'll see this year how it goes. But we had to postpone because of COVID. It's already 3 years. We had to try and then cancel and try and cancel, postpone and cancel.
Yeah,
so
but
finally now it's happening.
So are there categories?
Yeah, there are categories
like,
for
countries.
Younger people, and also a section for advanced players.
So is that wrong?
Wrong.
Okay. Great information, Miguel. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that's a good video. Thank you very much for
Thank you so much.
our interview.